Being a Longhorn is opportunity, pride, achievement, community, safety. Being a Longhorn is a choice to become a hero, to lead, to thrive in any setting. Being a Longhorn means immersing yourself in fine arts, learning at your own pace in Montessori, starting your path to college in elementary, earning a college degree in high school. The pride of being a Longhorn lives on long after graduation. Educate, empower, inspire.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Davis. I'm the Director of Family and Community Engagement for Cedar Hill ISD. I've never seen this before. It looks like we are only going live on YouTube because something's going on with the Facebook link. Let's see. Hold on just one second. Remove. So sorry. Let me, oh my gosh. And re-add it. I hope this doesn't change anything. I hope we're still live. I think we're still live. Okay, I think it might be working. I don't know. We'll just have to see later. All right. Again, I'm Alicia Davis, Director of Family and Community Engagement for Cedar Hill ISD. Thank you so very much for joining us for our Digital Parent University on Securing the Scholarship. Yes. Okay. Now, of course, I want to tell you of a few upcoming events that we have going on in the district. Today and tomorrow are parent-teacher conferences, so there's no school for scholars. Monday is President's Day, so there's also no school. Wow, you get a 3-day weekend when we just, well, a 5-day weekend when we just had another one. Wait, is that a what? That's a lot of days. Anyway, on February the 21st, we have our board meeting. Our trustees will meet on that day, that evening at 6:30, and at 7:30 that will be the public session. On February the 23rd, which is next Thursday, we will have another Digital Parent University, which is on social media and cell phones. And just so you all are aware, on Thursday, March 2nd is National Read Across America Day. We are going to be asking our community, our parents, whoever might want to be a reader, to come into the district and read to our babies in elementary school. So be on the lookout for that information that will be upcoming. Now, tonight we have a very special guest who is our presenter and our panelist. Well, we have actually two panelists, but one presenter. Her name is Davion Andrews. She is the founder of Journey to Aspirations, and she is also a Cedar Hill Collegiate graduate. So we have to definitely welcome her, give her a warm welcome. Thank you so much, Ms. Andrews, for coming. And we also have Dr. Lisa Johnson-Hanna. She is our Gear Up family and financial advocate. And she actually got Ms. Andrews to be our presenter. So thank you so much. And Dr. Hannah will be here to answer any questions when we have our Q&A session. As, of course, Davion will also be available for that as well. All right, without further ado, Davion, it's your show.
All righty. Good evening, everyone. My name is Davion Andrews. I graduated from Cedar Hill Collegiate in 2016. And then I went to the University of Texas at Austin to obtain my bachelor's and master's degrees in accounting. And now I am the founder of Journey to Aspirations. If you want to go to the next slide for me. The next one. So J2A is a program designed to equip high school students with the tools they need to be ready for college and life after college. And aside from college and essay reviews, we also focus on scholarships, but also just empowering students to believe in their gifts and fulfill their potential in order to achieve their aspirations. Next slide for me. So some of the services that we offer in partnership with Gear Up is college application assistance, essay review, and then we discuss monthly workshops with topics including personal branding, self-management, networking, boundaries, etc. And just I want to back up a little bit. I graduated from collegiate in 2016, and I'm a first generation college grad. And so my family didn't have any information to tell me about the college application process. And so I kind of had to navigate it myself with the help of counselors, teachers, and college administration. And what I realized is there's so many opportunities and resources out here that people in my community just didn't know about. And so that is what birthed my passion to help the younger generation. So I did receive a full ride to the University of Texas, and I was mind blown. But then I also was like, if I can do this, other students can as well. Other students can also. And so I just wanted to create J2A to help students to see that if they work hard, they can get to where they want to go. But also, not only that, the reason why I host the monthly workshops is to equip students with these skills that they need once they get to college. Because what I've also seen is students get to college, they made it, but then they end up having to drop out or they flunk out primarily because they don't have these life skills that they need to thrive in this college environment, because it is a different environment. Trust me, it was a challenge. Like, I did well in high school, and then I got to college and I was like, okay, this is different. So the race is not finished once you get to college. And so that is the mission of J2A, is to just help prepare students for this. So now I just want to talk to you all a little bit about the journey to college. I know parents and students often ask me, well, what does this process entail? And so I just want to provide a high level overview of what the process looks like, because it is a true journey. It's not just something you can get done in 2 months. It takes some preparation and some conversations ahead of time in order to prepare yourself and prepare your scholars. So my first recommendation is for students to choose a major. And there are hundreds of majors. And so it's kind of like, well, how do I know what do I want to do? So I've recommended students fill out online surveys. They have those for free online where you can just answer a few questions and they'll kind of give you a few options to consider. So that's a good starting point. But also you could consider having a conversation with your child and thinking about, okay, well, what excites you? Like, what are you passionate about? What is something that you would consider doing for free? I don't want to say do for free because life is expensive right now. I'm sure there aren't a lot of things we would do for free, but what would you consider doing for free just because you're that passionate about it or you're that intrigued? And that will kind of help you narrow down your options as you're trying to consider what major you would like to go into. And the next step will be to do your research. This is a critical step that you don't just want to brush by, because you want to make sure that you are choosing the best college for you. So when you're doing research, you can go based off of, well, what colleges are ranked in the major that I'm interested in, or what colleges even offer the major that I am considering, because not all colleges have every major. And so you want to be doing that research early on in order to narrow down your list. And from there in your research, you should be able to find out more about what GPA requirement or test score requirements these colleges have. And from there, you want to start taking the SAT and or the ACT in order to achieve that goal of the test that you want, the score that you want to achieve. College tours are very important as well. I know that Gear Up does have opportunities for students to go on college tours. They've told me about a lot of great opportunities, and I definitely think you should encourage your scholars to get involved and take advantage of those opportunities, because we've all had an opportunity before. An experience before where we've seen something on a website that looks beautiful and all glorified, but then you get there and you're just like, wait a minute, this isn't for me. I thought it was like this. And so we want to make sure that if you have the opportunity to go on these tours and get your feet on these campuses, talk to current students, to current faculty and staff, and just get a feel for it. See, the students want to be able to see if they can feel comfortable being here, being in that city or that town. And then you want to make sure that, as a parent, if you feel comfortable with your child going there. Essays. This is like the most critical aspect of the process, in my opinion, primarily because when you think about it, you can have two candidates with the same GPA or similar GPAs, and both might have been in sports. Somebody's involved in an organization on campus, having part-time jobs, but with the essay, you're able to differentiate yourself. This provides you the opportunity to tell your story. And I struggled with this as I was going through the process, because I felt like my story was just who I am. I didn't think it was anything to it, or I didn't just consider the trials and tribulations I faced growing up to get me to where I am today. And so I just had to learn to be more vulnerable, which is what I encourage my students to do, is to get vulnerable when you're writing these essays, because how else will the colleges know that you are deserving of scholarships, deserving of going to that college, and that you can make an impact, that you have a true story that just makes you more like qualified. Because like I tell my students, everyone has a purpose. And so this is your opportunity to write that out in these essays. And so I also tell students to take time with these essays. Don't think you'll just get it done and try to get it done in a week or something. You want to have multiple eyes on these essays. You might have 2 or 3 versions just to make sure that you're having a sturdy foundation, because this will then help you when you're on to the next step for applying for colleges and also scholarships. And the good thing about these essays, a lot of the topics are usually similar. So tell us your story, or tell us about a time you had a difficult challenge and how did you overcome it? Why are you deserving of this scholarship, or what do you want to do? So there's usually similar themes with these essays. And so if you can get the foundation really solid early on in your senior year, then when you're moving forward in other scholarship and college applications, you kind of already have the foundation. You can just tweak things here and there. Alrighty, timeline. How early should you start? So the only thing that you have to wait until your senior year for is submitting the actual college application. Everything else you can start as early as you like. I definitely recommend taking the SAT or ACT your junior year. And this is because, as I mentioned previously, once you have that target score in mind, if you're trying to wait until your senior year to take those tests and you don't achieve that score on the first time, then you have less time to improve your score. However, if you start earlier, sophomore or junior year, you can adjust, study more, and start taking the test as many times as you like in order to get the score that you're looking for. And it's never too early to have discussions about your child's field of interest, to start visiting college campuses, and also conducting research. Scholarships. Let's talk about money. All righty. So there are very high level. There are 3 types of scholarships. You have merit-based, which are generally automatically awarded to students based on like your GPA, your test scores, which is why I said that it's so important. And you should figure that out as you're doing your research on colleges, because they usually have these on the college's website. And then you have national scholarships. So these are exactly what they sound like, scholarships that people across the nation can apply for. There's different websites that have a database of scholarships. So you have scholarships.com, collegeboard.org, and then also bold. I think it's .org. But with these databases, often you can like filter what your qualifications are, and then it'll tailor your search to what you are looking for. So I highly recommend just going online, Googling scholarships for biology majors, or scholarships for juniors, scholarships for seniors. And so this will just help you to see what is out there. But the primary focus, especially in J2A, is local scholarships, because it narrows that competition pool down. So these scholarships look like, there's ones for specifically Cedar Hill students, or students in the Southwest area. So Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lancaster, Duncanville. And so this, as I mentioned, is a smaller competition pool. And so your chances of getting these scholarships increase, of course, because it's not as many people across the nation applying. So you can find these by looking on school websites. I believe Cedar Hill has something. You don't even have to stick to Cedar Hill. You can go sneak on over to Duncanville's website and see if they have anything that Cedar Hill might not have. Look, when we're talking about money, you got to do what you got to do. So I just highly encourage you to just take advantage. The internet is a very powerful tool. So check on these websites. And then also think about the local chapters of national organizations. So fraternities and sororities have scholarships. And it'll be like specific to like the Cedar Hill chapter of an organization might have. So Lions Club, for example, I believe has a scholarship. And then ask your family and friends if their employers have scholarships that they've heard about before, because you just never know. Asking is the best thing you can do. The worst they can say is no, and you just move forward and try to find the next scholarship. Okay, let's talk about navigating the journey with your child and some challenges and tips that you'll face. So some common challenges that I've come across when talking to students, and I also conducted a survey on students a couple of months ago, is the main thing is lack of direction. Like they just don't know where to start, which is fair because like I said, this process is a lot. How do you know where to start? So they also are challenged with the lack of motivation and procrastination and senioritis, which all go hand in hand because we all I'm sure have dealt with procrastination before, just because you just don't want to. Like life happens and you just don't have the motivation or desire to do things. And then sometimes students are just unsure of what they want to do, which is why the first step is important to start assessing what major you want to consider or what your passions are. And then lack of support is also another one, just because I think sometimes I didn't realize when I was in my senior year, but you think, oh, kids, like what responsibilities do you have? You don't pay bills, like you just go to school, you have a part-time job. But this is a very pivotal moment in these children's lives. And so they're just not sure what to do. Like they don't know what life will be after high school. And so they mentioned that like lack of support is something that it's a challenge that they face sometimes. So I want to talk about parental support. So as a parent, how can I show up and support my student during this chapter of their life? One, providing moral support is so important. Just being there, being a listening ear. And like I said, it sounds like, okay, you're a child. Like what are you stressed about? But just being able to encourage them and give them that encouragement they need to push forward each and every day. And prepare your child for what's to come. Like have candid conversations. Like this journey will not be easy, most likely. Like you have to put in the work. Just being authentic with them and letting them know that what they're stepping into might be a challenge, but you have their back and you're there to support them in any way that you can. And also that Cedar Hill has great resources. So just reminding them of even though they may be facing challenges, what support system they do have. And emphasize the importance of being proactive versus procrastinating. As I mentioned, procrastination is something that not only your children are dealing with, people across the world are. And so just help them understand that if they do what they have to do now and take care of their business, they can do what they want to do later in life just because they put in the work. And so even in your senior year, if you put in the work in that first semester early on, you should be able to tone it down a notch your spring semester just because you've done what you need to do. You've taken care of your business. And allow your child to make mistakes. I'm not talking about big mistakes, but just they're going to try to or have to like figure out life. And so I know I'm not a parent, but I can imagine as a parent, you want to do, because I have a younger brother, he's 13, and that's basically my son. And I catch myself wanting to just do things for him so that he doesn't mess up or make mistakes. But I'm just like, no, let him learn, like let him do things so that he feels empowered to make decisions and feels empowered to take ownership of his life and his journey. So just I encourage you to kind of, let your child take steps and take ownership for what they're doing. And be understanding. As I mentioned, this is a very transitional phase in their lives. And so they might not always be on top of it like you would like them to, but just be understanding and be right there to encourage them to keep moving forward and put in their work, and maybe bribe them with a reward or something. I don't know, whatever your child likes. And then mentally prepare yourself. So I talked to a lot of parents who just were like, I was not ready. I am not ready. Like, I don't want my child to go off. They get on my nerves, but this is just too much. And so not only are the children in transitional phases, but parents too are as well. And so I can only imagine that it's hard after 17, 18 years to let your child leave the nest and go off to college, but it will be so worth it. Like if they put in the work, all of the seeds that you've sown will grow, and you will just be so proud. So just start getting mentally prepared for this season. And it's a celebratory season. You should be very proud of what's to come. Alrighty, so let's talk about some ways that you can make your college application appealing. One, maintain your GPA. This is so important. I've seen students who, were doing well and they get to senior year and it's like, school, what's that? We don't want that. We want to make sure that you are maintaining that GPA, because even though when you apply, colleges are primarily looking at your records from junior year and before. So freshman and junior year, you're going to have to submit that senior year transcript once you graduate. So we don't want to lose any scholarships or lose any college offers just because we slacked off in our senior year. So I want to make sure that you're staying on top of that. And then partake in community service and volunteer activities. Service is not even just for your resume or to make your college application look good, but I highly recommend volunteering and getting involved in the community, just because you just learn so much, you see so much. It makes you more grateful for where you are and what you where the city that you live in. And it also, like with colleges, it's one thing to do things for like benefit, right? But if you're doing things, volunteer hours and things, that also looks really good on your application and just shows that you are willing to sacrifice your time to give back. And then get involved on campus. So I know Cedar Hill is not short of ways that you can get involved because they have so many clubs, sports, and everything else. So start getting involved if you haven't already. For my freshman and sophomore parents that are on the call, like, let your student get involved, and that'll also help them to build connections, to network, and then add this to their resume as well. And then for students who are able to, part-time job is good. It teaches you responsibility. It also puts some extra money in your pocket. And if your time permits and if your situation allows, if you can get a part-time job, that will be good. And that's not the case for everyone. So this is not a necessity for applying to college. That is not at all what I'm trying to say. And then build relationships with your teachers and your counselors. You have so many great teachers, faculty, and staff that are at your fingertips. I encourage students to start talking to their teachers and to these counselors and just letting them know about the situation, just getting to know them, because again, a great resource. And also, once you get to the phase of applying for letters for colleges and scholarships, you need letters of recommendation. And what I've also seen is that people don't have people that they can go to ask for a letter of recommendation. So you don't want to go through 3 to 4 years of college and not be able to have someone that can vouch for your character and vouch for the type of person you are. So that is important, to build relationships, not only with your peers, but also with the staff at your campus. Tips for navigating the process. I highly encourage you all to start early. My personal recommendation is to get started in July before your senior year, as far as like truly sitting down and working on the process. You can start having conversations sooner than that, but the summer before they usually release like college application essays in July. So you have that to get started on before school even starts, because once school starts in August and it's your senior year, who's thinking about an application? Probably 5% of people are actually thinking about an application, 5% of seniors. So you want to, while you're still coming down from summer, you want to just start getting the ball rolling on that college application process. And then tour those colleges, as I mentioned, get connected with Gear Up if you haven't already. Talk to professionals in your field of interest. This is so, so, so important, because I didn't know any accountants growing up. And so I didn't know much about what accountants do. I just knew it was math and money. And now that I'm in the field, I'm like, it's not necessarily math. It is money. But talking to people that are in your field just kind of helps you understand, like, okay, is this something that I really want to do? Or is this something like, what will this process look like? Like, looking at other people's journey will kind of help you gauge if that is something that you want to pursue. And then also make sure that you're attending college events. Sometimes college representatives come down to the DFW area and host events for high school students. So this is a great way to network, a great way to learn about the colleges. And it's not just, I think I encourage people to shift their narrative about certain, like applying to colleges, because it's not just, will the college choose me, but you want to choose a college. It's kind of like dating. Like, what do y'all have to offer for me? What is this a good fit? Like, are we compatible? So attending these college events will kind of help you to see, okay, well, what kind of staff do they have here? Or like, what is the environment like? What is the culture like? What are the demographics like? And lastly, I encourage you all to seek externships or job shadowing opportunities. This kind of goes hand in hand with talking to professionals in your field. If your student ever has the opportunity to just go for a few hours to someone's job and just shadow them to see what they do, this will be great for them to understand, like, okay, well, yeah, maybe I don't want to work at a desk or sit at a desk for 8 to 9 hours a day. Maybe I want to be more client facing and interacting. So these are just good things that they can learn early on, so that when they get to college, they're able to understand that, okay, this is truly what I want to do. Okay, so because there's so many things to do and so many things to learn, and I'm sure it's overwhelming trying to navigate this process, I am hosting, in partnership with Gear Up, a boot camp for the class of 2024, and it is called The Prelude. So we're going to be talking about everything college, trying to get ready for what's to come. I'll also be talking about opportunities for summer 2023, because there are a plethora of college programs for high school juniors to be involved in this summer. So this will help these students to be able to go to the campuses and get a feel for what that college is like and just learn more about their major. So I highly recommend you all to attend. The registration link is on this flyer, and we're going to drop it in the chat for you all. This will be, it's a free event, and this will be a great opportunity for just students to start learning more and like just getting their feet wet into what their senior year will entail. And it will be held at Cedar Hill High School on next Wednesday, or this upcoming Wednesday, February 22nd at 3:15 p.m. And once you register, I'll send details about the location.
Thank you so much, Davion. Now, I did put the link to register for that in the chat. I'm also going to put a couple of other links, since we're talking about scholarships. I'm going to put some scholarship links that we have available to you at the district. So let me put these in here.
See?
She also mentioned college tours and things like that. So we definitely want to publicize the college fair and experience that's coming up that Gear Up is hosting. So maybe you can also speak to that, Dr. Hannah, if you'd like. And let me put these last links. And then we have someone that says, thanks for this very valuable information. Oh, someone else says the same thing. Now, this is the time to ask questions. If you have any questions for Davion, or if you have any questions for Dr. Hannah or myself, please feel free to ask. This is your time. This is your chance. Because I don't see any, but of course I see the positive comments, so that's always a good thing. Of course, we thank you for taking the time to tune in this evening for this Digital Parent University. And I did send this to some scholars too, our high school scholars via email. We don't have their phone number, so they're not getting a text, but we've got the parents' number, so we do text them prior to this going live. But did you want to talk about the upcoming?
Yes, if I may, please. Thank you so much. The Gear Up, primarily through our outstanding site coordinator, Ms. Rollins, is going to facilitate an HBCU HSI college fair. It's going to be Thursday, March 9th, just right before the spring break. Will be from 6 until 8. From 6 until 7, there will be a number of panel discussions. There'll be a number of presentations. Students will talk about not just about how to get into college, but what is college life about? What do I need to balance successfully in order to, as Ms. Andrews just told us, stay? Because there's one thing to get there and to be green-eyed and have a great time, but if you're having too much of a great time, then you're back home. And so we're going to have panel discussions just regarding all of those. And then at 7, Participants will be released, so to speak, into our fair itself, and they will have the opportunity to meet with college representatives from several HBCUs and HSIs, Hispanic institutions as well, Hispanic serving institutions as well. So it will be a great night. There have been so many wonderful points that have been made during this presentation, and I love the procrastination because that is key. Often when the students are procrastinating, it's because they're afraid. They don't know. And so because they're people pleasers, most of them will say, if you ask them, oh, how's that application coming? Oh, yeah, I'm working on it. And they really aren't. So one of my suggestions would be, even for that very first college application, you might want to take a few minutes to sit down with your scholar so that both you and your scholar can become a bit more aware of the college application process itself. And then after that, as they become a bit more confident, and I know we can see it here in our office, you know, the first couple of applications, they're real hesitant and they want somebody to sit with them question by question, even down to their name, date of birth, and social security number. And then after that, once they build the confidence, they're off and running. They're applying for scholarships. I mean, they're moving. There's no stopping them at that particular point. They get excited and they get turned on by their progress with the other or with their most previous applications. And so it's just important that we help them to get going with that process. If you find yourself stuck or you find that you're kind of at odds with your scholar, and it's a very, it's a hard position to be in because, of course, as a parent, you know that they're leaving and you think about all the things that you wish you had maybe talked to them about for the last couple of years and you're trying to kind of cram it all in at one time. Well, at some point, they become overwhelmed. We don't want this to be a you versus your scholar kind of contest and battle of the wills. As Ms. Andrews said, reach out. Call someone, call a counselor. Often the very same thing that you've been talking to your scholar about, one of us can talk to them about it and they'll act like that's a case of first impression and that's the best idea ever. Why? Because there isn't as much emotional content between us, so to speak. And so I think sometimes with the parents, they worry so much about disappointing their parent. They're like, I don't know. But often if we're able to say those exact same things, they'll go off, run off, take the advice, and that's fine. Doesn't matter where it comes from. It takes a community of support and love to help our scholars get to where they want to go. So do not hesitate to reach out to us. As Ms. Andrews said, start researching now. When the kids are out of school, a day here or a day there, if you can, take a quick college tour. For instance, TCU affords college tours all the time. Call them. Hey, can we come on over? Get scheduled for a tour somewhere that is local. Doesn't mean that all the tours have to be long distance or that you've got to drive a significant way, but just start local so that you can start to come up with this checklist of what are the kinds of things that we really want. What are the kinds of things that we don't like? Because as Ms. Andrews said, you can sometimes get there and you're like, oh no, I don't like the feel of this. Or as my daughter used to tell me, this creeps me out. I want to leave. And so then we knew that campus just was not for her. So it's an exciting time, but a very, for some, and actually for most students, they're going to go through a couple of days where they just don't know. Most students, or a number of students, I don't want to say most, a number of students will have that day where it all of a sudden hits, life is coming, and it's coming real quick. This is real. And so it's not unusual for them to break down. Social emotional context is really, really, really critical at this point in time. It's not unusual for them to feel that way. Please, please, please reassure them. We've all been there before where you're like, oh, I'm going to be expected to pay my own bills now and to kind of make sure I got my own assignments done. Who's going to cook the dinner every night? You mean I got to get to the dorm by this time? So again, just help them to go through that process.
Yes, you made some really great points, Dr. Hannah. I do just want to emphasize the fact of, I think what I've seen with students is they don't go to these events. So, for example, this fair that is coming up on March 9th, they don't go because they feel like they're not ready.
Yes. Or
they don't go to these different events that are offered, but you don't have to be fully ready. You don't even have to have an idea of what you want to major in. Yeah. Knowledge is key. The more you show up to these events and you network and you just learn and take in information, you'll start to see, yeah, no, that doesn't sound interesting to me. Like, you'll feel it. So encourage your students to just show up and just soak in as much information as they can. And from there, they can assess like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not feeling that. Or no, actually, I really do want to I think I want to start pursuing that or look into that. And then also, you mentioned connecting with the support that you do have. That is so key. I try to tell students, I'm like, because I've heard that parents have told me, like, I just told her that and she didn't listen to me, or I was telling him that 2 weeks ago, and then you telling me, he's just like, everything you said was just powerful. It does make a difference sometimes, like I'm sure a lot of the people in the audience have been like that. When your parents tell you something, you heard them, but you didn't really hear them, like, okay, whatever. So connecting with Gear Up and getting involved with J2A is so important, because it's just something about hearing from people who aren't related to you that just resonates a little deeper. So I highly encourage you all to get connected and get plugged in, because the resources that Cedar Hill offers is crazy to me. Like when I was here, we had resources, but we didn't have all this. So take advantage of this, and it's free. Like, what?
Yes.
Huh? Yeah. Y'all should definitely get connected and get plugged in. I highly, highly recommend it. It will pay off.
We do have some marks for you, Ms. Andrews. You're an awesome presenter. Great job. And they'll definitely have their son go through probably J2A.
Thank you.
Here's a question. I have 3 scholars at CHISD, grades 10, 11, and 12. Do we have to register each one for the boot camp separately? And is there a fee for the boot camp?
So the boot camp will primarily be for juniors. Some of the information that I have will be good for your 10th grader. But yes, you would have to register them. And the 12th grader, the information I have won't be key to them. But you can email me, and if you all need help, I can try to help that 12th grader in the phase that they are in now, as they're almost out the door. And congratulations on almost being an empty nester soon.
Yes. Wow.
But yes, the 10th and 11th grader, you will have to register them separately, and there is not a fee for the boot camp. It is free.
Awesome. Do all students have access to Naviance? And do parents have a parent access on behalf of their child? I don't know about Naviance.
I can speak as to Naviance. So all the students, all seniors have a Naviance account, and that account is accessed by the student. So what happens is that the student goes to or what will happen, let me explain the process. As they apply, either applying to colleges directly or through Apply Texas, they first submit their application, and then for each school that they apply to, they come over to Naviance, which is an additional platform, and they add that school and request their transcripts through Naviance. And so that is definitely something that is driven by the students. We then look at the Naviance transcript management system on a daily basis, so to speak, every day. And as transcript requests come in, then we release the transcripts over to the requesting schools. If they do not use the Naviance feature, then we're not aware of a need to release transcripts. So the application itself is for the colleges. Naviance is the way that the students use to let us know, hey, please release our transcripts to this particular school. And then once we, of course, are connected with that school through Naviance, then we receive other additional updates. For instance, schools that request a mid-year transcript, that would be a transcript at the end of the first semester. Once the students have elected and added those schools to Naviance, we automatically, of course, receive those requests. The student doesn't have to do anything else to come back and say, oh, hey, could you please? Once they add it into Naviance, that's great. They're good.
Thank you. I have an expert here. This says, thank you for this info. I have my scholar watching this with me so he can hear it from someone who's been where he is currently. That's awesome. That's what we want. Yeah. Now, if there are any other questions, please be sure to put them in the chat. This has been great information, and I appreciate you for taking the time to talk to exactly what she's saying, scholars who have been in your exact shoes as you are a graduate of our district. So that is awesome that you're paying it back, to your district. So we appreciate that.
Of course, I love Cedar Hill, and I just want these students to understand that the sky really is the limit. Like, you can work hard and get to where you want to be and do what you want to do in life. And so I think sometimes scholars don't see what their gift is. Like, everyone has a gift and a talent, and sometimes you just don't know. Like, I didn't know. I was like, okay, I'm doing accounting, but what is my passion? So like, I try to help students tap into what that is and understand that they can really achieve what they put their minds to, put the work in for. Even though life will be hard, it will be challenging, you will be able to go into the world confident that you can do all things. So
yes, I love it. You mentioned your email. Oh, well, here's the question. Is there a website for J2A?
There is not a website.
But you did mention your email.
Yes, I can provide my email. Oh, everybody wants the website.
I know.
Let
me get the email. Let me see.
I'll provide my email. It's Journey. Can I check? No.
I'll type it in.
It's Journey, the number 2, Aspirations @gmail.com.
22 Aspirations @gmail.com. Okay.
Website coming soon, y'all. Thank y'all for giving me that push.
No.
Been on my mind. So much.
Here is a question. Good info. Many of the scholarships are requiring official transcripts. What is the most efficient way of securing those?
Well, there are a couple of ways that they can secure their official transcripts. Of course, they can go into Naviance and they can request an official transcript through Naviance. However, to be quite honest, if they just send us an email, any member of Gear Up, if they send their counselor an email, we respond to those right away and we get the official transcript right out.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Because you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that banner up. Unless I see some more questions coming. Oh, hold on.
There's one more.
Never mind. Also, many are requiring recommendations on letterhead from core teachers. My teachers are Dallas College. What do you suggest? Ooh, wow. That is interesting. So
I want to be sure. I'm sorry. So they're requiring recommendations on CHISD letterhead. Is that what I'm understanding? Correct? Because there is letterhead available for each campus. It's through our branding site that our teachers have access to, and so that's not a problem.
Yeah, and we even in the communications department, everyone who is they may not be aware of it, but everyone who is an employee has access to the branding guide that does have the CHISD, just the district letterhead on it. So that's one thing. But I guess maybe the question is about the Dallas College, because maybe we wouldn't have their.
No, we wouldn't have their letterhead. No, we wouldn't have their letterhead. However, if it's a dual credit class, I'm presuming that our letterhead would suffice because that teacher is a dual credit teacher for the Cedar Hill Independent School District.
Yeah. And so maybe those teachers, they may not be aware that they can, if they go to their Google Drive and just type the word branding guide, they'll see it. It's a folder.
It sounds like the Cha-Cha family is on top of scholarships. Congratulations.
Yes, that's right.
Hey, Cha-Cha family. Let's see. Will there be any issues getting transcripts in the summer and in August?
I don't know how long it takes, because ordinarily, if I can back up the bus, so to speak, a bit, at the end of every academic period, it takes a couple of weeks for grades to finalize and for transcripts in turn to be produced. That having been said, the most accurate transcripts with regard to a cumulative grade point average and your ranking at the end of your junior year are not necessarily tabulated before September. So we can, yes, provide you with a transcript that shows your grades. However, you may find that between July and September that your ranking may adjust maybe a seat or two. But that's, yes, you can get a transcript, but it will not be your most reliable factor. In September is when they are hard set with regards to your rank at that particular time, your rank and your cumulative grade point average. That information is again tabulated at the end of the first semester, the 1st of February. Then we have mid-year transcripts that show again exactly where you stand with regards to your other classmates, as well as the overall cumulative grade point average.
Thank you. When is the Gear Up College event again? That's Thursday, March the 9th.
Thursday, March 9th. Yes, please come out and join us.
Oh, well, there's information coming out. We actually, I just got the new version of the flyer, which I guess we need to send for approval from Gear Up, to make sure y'all approve it. Yes. So that will be coming out. We will be sending that out to I guess all high school students or
yes, all our families. Yes.
Okay, this is another Naviance question. There are many surveys on Naviance also for researching colleges. Can students have access prior to senior year?
Now, that's something I would have to look into. I'm not aware of that. I'll have to look into that. I presume that they do have access prior to senior year just because it's since it's tied to their log-on privileges. So one way of testing it, and I hate to ask you to do this because I don't have access as a student, is to go to the Naviance website. You can attempt to access as a student, and your student can input their credentials, their Cedar Hill ISD email address, and then they can click for a one-time login to see if they can get in. That's the best way to do it, to test it.
To test it out?
Mm-hmm. Let's test it out. Let's see. That's a great question, though.
And this one says, many of the ECA scholars have professors for teachers. I guess they're talking about professors that are at the actual college.
Yes. Yes.
I
should be able to use they should be able to use
their own. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It'll be fine.
They should have access to both. Branding for both ways.
All right. Any other questions?
Juniors, I hope to see y'all on February 22nd at 3:15 p.m. at Cedar Hill High School.
Yay. And more info to come after they register. You said you'll give them the location.
Yep.
All right. Great presentation. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. We want you all to have a wonderful evening. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Until next week, February 23rd, we will have another DPU, and that's going to be on the cell phones and social media, safety for your child. Okay. All right. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.